You're listening to Hotepish with your host, Dwwann B. Intelligent ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
I want to talk about it. That's why I said open discussion. Sometimes I just like to check in and see what's on y'all mind, and we can go from there. You dig what I'm saying? What's up, Kojo Black? What's up, Doogie 54? Tony Snow, Enemy Public. What up, y'all? Red Brim Dog. What's up, y'all? Thanks for joining. I mostly just want to see what the fuck y'all talking about. I'm putting together a show that I'm going to do about LA. I haven't done a show on LA since around the beginning of the year. I'd like to do one to just give an update to what's going on, because in my observation, it's a lot of shit that started out here that y'all end up dealing with in the rest of the country later on. So LA can be a blueprint. Neely Fuller talked about that with California and New York. And I had already been noticing that specifically with LA before he said that. So when he said it, that shit has made everything make sense. Like from the gang injunction law starting here, 3 strikes starting here, soft gentrification with them bringing in Latinos, slowly replacing black people, to hardcore gentrification like what we're going through right now in these last 5 years. You know, I heard what Tariq talked about as far as him not getting the museum on Crenshaw, and I got a little Mark Ridley Thomas, Herb West, these guys in LA, these politicians, that area, that's the area I grew up in, and they ain't never been for us. So I want to put together something on that. Hell, I might talk about it a little bit today. There's just a lot of shit going on in that area right now, politically. And it always has been. That thug Mark Ridley Thomas, old too short looking ass, has always been a dipshit. That nigga got Magic Johnson's way back in 1998, purchasing the Santa Barbara Plaza over there on Marlton, in between Marlton and King. Magic had just built that theater. Shit was popping. 1998, he's about to buy that whole shopping center, bring jobs to the hood. That would have mattered for me because I lived right down the street and I didn't have a car at that time. I was still in high school. Man, you know how cool it would have been to have a job that I could walk to? But Mark Ridley Thomas was like, nah. Unless it got my name on it, you can't build it. Mark Ridley Thomas has always done hoe ass shit like that with black businesses in the Crenshaw district. So it's no surprise that brother Nasheed is going through what he's going through in that area. Mark Ridley Thomas, his son, all them, they ain't shit. Hell, this is a quick little personal story. I was always aware of who Mark Ridley Thomas was. Cause I'll never forget, we were going over to my aunt's, my great aunt's house. Rest in peace, Aunt Ella. But she lived over off Western and 74th. And right as we were going in, I see this Infinity pull up. This is back in the early 90s when Infinities was still like, what the fuck is that? And the dude slowed down. This is too short looking nigga rolling up real slow. And my dad stopped and was like, oh, hey. And they shook hands and was like, and I shook his hand. Then he's like, yeah, my name is Mark. I'm Mr. Mark Ridley Thomas. And I was probably like 11. And we walked in. My dad was like, oh, yeah, you know who that is? I was like, nah. He said, that's the new councilman. And at the time, he had took Nate Holden's job because Nate Holden was the guy that was in before him. And then my dad was like, I was like, how do you know him? He was like, we went to school together. Yeah, my dad whooped his ass in middle school because he was a bully. Pops was like, that nigga was a bully. And I saw him fucking with everybody in the locker room. So I got to him before he got to me. Now that thug has been one of the most, has had some of the most power in LA and ain't done shit to help black people. Like when that subway and that train line went across Crenshaw. If you drive down through South Central, if you go through La Cienega, it's a bridge over La Cienega. It's a bridge over La Brea. It goes underground when it get next to them white boys at USC. But when that shit crossed Crenshaw, it's right there on the ground. Because Mark Ridley Thomas bitch ass didn't want to spend the money to elevate it so we can have good traffic. He'd rather see children, black kids get killed crossing that damn train line. Man, I can go on and on about Mark Ridley Thomas and what's going on in that Crenshaw district area. My mom used to be she's always been politically active. I remember when Maxine Waters was for the state, in the state Congress, not the national Congress. My mom used to bump heads with Maxine Waters back in like 87 over her saying one thing and doing something different. So my mom used to go to the city council meetings and all that stuff where the local politicians would be. That's where I get my political awareness from, my mom. So what's going on? What happened to Nipsey? You know what I mean? None of that shit surprised me. South Central, some thug shit politically. I appreciate that, Dominique. Yeah, man. Hell yeah, the Biden administration sending a clear message to us. But yeah, in California, man, we facing LA, I'll be listening to other people talk about LA, and with all due respect to people who aren't from here, you can't visit LA twice a year and think you know 10% about this city. This city's different, man. The politics are different. How we move is different. For instance, the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza. I remember when that motherfucker was getting built. Because that Macy's, well, at the time it was May Company, Robinson May, and Broadway. Remember Broadway before Macy's? Those are the two department stores, but it wasn't a full mall. As a matter of fact, those two stores, my grand uncle, the same one I was telling you about, I was over his house, the whole Mark Ridley Thomas story, he worked on that building. Because that was designed by that brother. I forgot what's his name. I'm drawing a blank to his name. The same brother who designed the Bel Air and LAX and the Beverly Hills Hotel. Y'all know who somebody in the chat room will tell me. It's the black man, Paul Revere Williams. He designed those 2 stores. And my great uncle worked under Paul Revere Williams. Well, in 89, 90, right around time Boys in the Hood came out, they built that bridge and turned those 2 stores into a full mall. I know because at the time Boys in the Hood came out, at the time they were filming that, the mall had just opened. When Ferris, when the scene at the end, when they were at Eat a Burger, and he was like, "These my fries." And then when Q pulled up and shot him, that was at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Center. Let me tell you something, that mall wasn't never shit. That mall wasn't never shit. South Black LA, nigga, we wanted some shit, we went to the Fox Hills Mall. Somebody said Jamaicans and Caribbeans are mad at me. Well, tell them to go cry to their mama. I don't give a fuck. The truth to my people means more than the hurt feelings of liars. You dig what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to y'all comments, but I just can't even talk about this part about LA. Because like, LA, black folks, we shop at the Fox Hills Mall and the Beverly Center. Because the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Plaza never had shit. Man, I was always a fat kid, man. They ain't never have my size. Man, fuck that mall. I wish people, I wish they would have let black people buy it because they would have turned it into a living space and office space, which probably better use because as a mall, that place was never shit. The Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Mall was a 2-minute drive, 6-minute bike ride from my house as a kid. 5-minute bike ride. We'd be like, nope, we gonna drive 15 minutes the other way to the Fox Hills Mall. But it's been under a soft gentrification since the late 80s, early 90s. I remember LA was all black, but I remember when them riots hit in 92, because I was always at my grandmother's house on the east side. She lived over on like Slauson and Broadway. That's where I'd always be, over off Slauson and Broadway, right at the 110 freeway. And I just started seeing all these Mexicans out of nowhere, like, where the fuck these people come from? But you gotta understand, housing, you could buy a house out in Pomona, out going east, 60, 70 grand. And LA was in the middle of a fucking war in the late 80s. Shit, me and my brother used to be, by the time I was 8, I knew the difference between a Tech 9 and an AK-47 getting fired off because I heard them motherfuckers so much. I was involved in at least 4 drive-bys by the age of 10 because my neighbor was a Crip and I lived in the Blood neighborhood and they shot his house up a couple times. Our house got hit because them niggas couldn't shoot. I saw at least 4 people die, like get shot, right? Like not too far in front of me by the time I was 10. My elementary school, Coliseum Elementary, we were involved in I remember being involved in at least 3 different drive-bys because the dude that worked the after school program was a Crip. Again, and I was in the Blood neighborhood, BPS hood, right outside the jungles. And I remember our after school program, we playing basketball there, rat-tat-tat-tat, everybody ducked. I remember sitting in Miss Smith's math class, rat-tat-tat-tat, everybody ducked. That's how LA was at the time. So people took the deal. I'm gonna buy a house out in Pomona, out in Riverside. You know, and I'm gonna leave this war. San Bernardino. It was a fucking war going on in South Central LA at that time. Niggas don't understand. Try having until you said, did that fuck with me or empower me? It fucked with me at first, but look, I was a kid, so to me it was kind of normal. It fucked with me, like when I first saw somebody get shot, yeah, it fucked with me. But it happened so much, especially during the 80s, Oh, especially when Crenshaw and Dorsey had a football game. My God, I was guaranteed to hear some gunshots. If not, see somebody get stabbed or some shit. Because my house was right across the street from Dorsey High School where I grew up. About a block down over, but I could see Dorsey out my bedroom window. So it kind of fucked with me, but then at the same time, as a kid, when things happen, everything is normal to you. So to me, I actually thought that was normal. I thought everybody saw somebody get shot, honestly. I thought everybody at school got involved in drive-bys. Honestly, I thought, shit, you know? You know how it is. That's the beauty of youth. Whatever circumstance you're going through, it's normal to you. I remember when that Columbine shooting happened in like 1998 or whenever that was. I had long since grown up and moved to a different neighborhood. That's when my parents moved up to Windsor Hills. But, nigga, I remember when that Columbine thing happened, thinking like, why is everybody tripping? Schools always get shot up. I really was like, and my wife, she was my friend at the time because we went to high school together. She was like, nigga, what? She was raised up in Ladera Heights, and that was 5 miles from where I grew up, and we had totally different experiences. She saw the LA riots like, damn, they burning all that shit down. I wonder where that is. I saw the LA riots like, damn, they just burned down my favorite 7-Eleven. Shit, I go to that motherfucker every day after school. Literally. Right there on King and Coliseum. Burned that hoe down. We used to go to that motherfucker every day after school. Yeah, Reginald Denny. That's all that shit. See, Reginald Denny happened. That happened a mile down from where the first place we lived growing up, off Western and Florence. So everything that happened in the riots was like hella familiar to me. Yes, thank you, Star. It was 4/20/99 when Columbine happened. I remember my wife and I, we were seniors in high school, and we had like a drama class together, and they were talking about it, and I just remember thinking like, why is everybody tripping? Nigga, I went to Coliseum Elementary, nigga, shit kept getting shot up. Fuck y'all mad cause some white kids are getting shot up? Yeah. Now, Geo Magic, you live near me. Yeah, man. Oh, Geo Magic said he went to Westchester. Tell these niggas about going to Westchester. All the Westchester niggas, when you caught that bus down Manchester, motherfuckers took their Jordans off and put their Vans on, take your heel figure off, put on a Pro Club or something else. That's when Pro Clubs kind of got popular. The niggas was taking their goddamn heel figures off and putting the Pro Club on, because if you had that shit on when you got to the bus stop at Manchester and Market Street in Inglewood, niggas was just rushing the back of the bus. You got some J's, give me those. Oh, you got a chain, give me that. Nigga, that was every day after school if you caught that bus. Shit, that's why when I caught the bus, nigga, I'm like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm taking this Culver City bus down Sepulveda to the Fox Hills Mall, and then I'll take the 42 across La Tierra, and then that shit reached La Brea up at Overhill, and get on La Brea bus there to go down to La Brea. That's how I used to do it. Yeah. What do I think about bringing kids into the world during these times? Hey, I believe children come to the world at the time they're supposed to be there. One thing we got to remember as adults that is bigger than us. The children are always born for the times. The reason why it be such a big miscommunication between children and adults, the adults be trying to make the children see their world, when the children, culture and civilization changes every 20 years, 20, 25 years. There are new cultural norms. the parents' job to guide the children. Guide them. Now, don't let them get into everything. Certain cultural norms you're not going to accept, like this whole genderless society shit. You don't accept no bullshit like that, anything to go against science. But you also don't want to hold them back and raise them for the world you lived in, because that world would never exist by the time they reach your age. So know that I think it's cool to bring children in during this time if you're planning on it. Just make sure you have the financial resources to take care of yourself during these times, because you see what they're doing with these jobs. Make sure you know how to make money for yourself, you know, and have something, because they slowly turning off the water on us. So as long as you're resourceful as an adult and you want to bring a kid in, go ahead and do it. Yeah. I appreciate that, Try Hippie. That's what I do. I'll be forgetting to announce my main goddamn business, Breakthrough Advocacy Services. And I've been working with families for a long time. That's where I get my. That's where I got my bones cut. I sharpened my knife in South Central LA. Spy 6 for those who work mental health. You know what I'm talking about. The district from downtown to Compton to the south, Watts to the east, and the jungles to the west. That was my service area for working with families and helping families get better. I left that motherfucking company and created my own doing the same thing. So yes, I try to help. That nigga said he got stripped. You got stripped on the RTD? That RTD is no joke. The rough, tough, and dangerous. I appreciate that, Straight Fire. Mickey Knox said, LA traumatized you. That's why you in Minnesota? I hear you. For me, that shit happened at such a young age. That shit just all became normal to me. All that shit became normal to me. I don't want to take no phone calls yet. My grandparents' roots are in Los Angeles. Well, Mississippi for my grandfather, Texas for my grandmother, but my other grandmother on my mom's side, she was born here in LA. And my grandfather on my mom's side was born in LA also. They met at Jefferson High School in the 1950s. And my other grandfather, my dad's side, he went to Jefferson High School in the 1940s. They both came. They came there, even though he was raised in Mississippi, he came to LA at a very young age. My family is LA. Most of these niggas didn't come to the 60s. Well, hell, niggas that live here now didn't come to the last 10 years. But now my roots go real deep in this city. Somebody said, repent, Jesus is coming soon. They would tell Jesus to bring his goddamn credit card when he comes, so I can go ahead and have one last ride before he catch me up in a rapture like Anita Baker. Some nigga said, I hope you joking, Tom. So repent, Jesus coming. Man. I got more. I be forgetting that a lot of people are still very churchy, because I have like some hella like jokes on the church, and I'm raw. 'Cause I grew up in a church. I know all about that place. I have no issues talking shit. But it'll be people who were really raised on that, like really scared. A nigga, all I know is, yeah, so I be forgetting. I gotta calm down. Some people are still churchy. One thing I'm proud about black people is we aren't as churchy as we used to be. You know? Especially here in LA. So it's coming to you motherfuckers down south. I was down south last week. Y'all still got the church stuff up in y'all. But watch. It's coming to y'all too. Millennials, we are not fucking with the church like that. And me personally, I'm not against the church. I want the black church as an institution to stay around. Let me say that first. I think we're better as a people with the institution of church around. Not just in its current format. And not as some religious shit. The church wasn't a religious thing back out of slavery. They became religious later on. Go back and read Carter G. Woodson. The Negro Church. The church was started with, black folks had these rural towns all across the South. When somebody's moving to a new town, the first AME got its start building houses for people. Old John Earl is good with cutting trees. Johnny Ray got a little mill over there to get some boards. Earl Cephas knew how to frame, and they built you a house. And then when the new person came to town, it was your job to participate in building that house. The church is where you were taught masonry. It's where you were taught the arts, the skills, the trades. White folks wasn't teaching us that shit. We learned that shit in the church. The church is where our black music maintains its soul. The lyrics to church music ain't shit. God, I want to suffer, suffer, suffer till you get here. Fuck all that. But the music production itself is A class. The singing, the musicianship, man, it don't get no better than church. The nigga said he remembers when King Boulevard was Santa Barbara. Ha! When they remember that church I was on King in Hillcrest, was it Maranatha? I played the drums there this one time. I remember playing the drums there. I was like in high school. Because when I grew up in church, my mom was a true believer. Still is. And my mom was never preachy. She always lived the word of God. Like, she would hear some shit at church, and she wouldn't take it and go preach to somebody else. She would take it and live it. So my mom was she was never hypocritical. She was always 100 with it. So I grew up very naive. I thought everybody was like that. I didn't know. I would hear people say people in church are hypocrites, but we didn't really have people from church over our house. Like, we went to church, but when we came home, it wasn't none of that church. We was home. My dad didn't go to church. He does now, but back then he didn't. My mom didn't go around wagging the church and what the preacher said in his face. She just would live it and go about her life. So when I started playing the drums there is when I started seeing the church's bullshit for itself. I started playing when I was 14. And I was in there naive than a motherfucker. I don't come to y'all some nigga who's always known it, nigga. I was naive at once too, goddammit. Very naive. I used to be a nigga used to speak in tongues and all that corny shit. But I was mad because I couldn't speak in tongues in the rhythm like the ladies at church. They be speaking in tongues like Bone Thugs and Harmony. And I couldn't do it. So I used to be in church going laka, 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 thinking I'm praying in tongues. And Sister Charlene over here, Yo, sucker that fucker, sucker that, whatever the fuck. Nigga, I was in that shit, boy. Heavy. Hell, a lot of my closest friends to this day, I grew up in church with. Ain't none of us churchy anymore. But I used to really be on that shit like, sugala lakala, all that shit. Hell yeah, Deep Impressions. Hell yeah, extensive choir practice. I was at church on Sunday. By the time when I was 14, that's when I joined the church band. So I'm at rehearsal on Tuesday. I'm playing the congos or the drums Wednesday night Bible study, Thursday night choir rehearsal, and then 2 services on Sunday. That's when I was 14, 15, all through high school. That's how much I was in church. At least 3 days a week, usually 4. Then they'd be like, oh yeah, then it'd be time to pray, and they be hitting all that sokala shit, and I'd be feeling bad, because all I could do was laka. I was like, shit, well, at least I can play the drums for the Lord, you know? A nigga was all the way into it. One day, we started playing the drums. We started playing. I appreciate that, Rudolph, for the Cash App. One day, they send me some Bitcoin. I'll take that. Hell yeah. So one day, we had to go play somewhere else. And I had to go play at Maranatha. At the time, I'm like 16. Man, I go sit down. Mind you, it's drummer etiquette to bring your own sticks and your own snare. It's one, you want to have your own sound anyway. You may go play somewhere else and that snare be loose or missing a lug or too tight, not sounding right. So you always take your own snare anyway. I go to sit down on the drums. I'm literally about to pull my own snare out. But before I do, the church drummer's like, hey, get my snare. I don't want that nigga playing on my shit. And I was like, huh? Because at the same time, even though I'm young, I'm getting gigs like for these bands. And I'm playing with this group at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And them other musicians was nice. And I was like, how are the musicians at the Whiskey A Go-Go on Sunset Boulevard nicer than the motherfuckers at Maranatha on King? That's when my eyes started to open. This guy said, my homie says, it's a lot of opportunities for black men in Cali. Do I? No, well, it depends on what you do. It depends on what you do, Big Sky. Because I know someone who has a master's degree here in LA, and he can't get a job. He's been having to work at UPS for the last couple of years because they're not fucking with him, and he's great at what he does. But if you're into like engineering, yeah, because I know engineering they don't look at color as much. They more so look at your portfolio and what you have. Like one of my best friends is an engineer at Raytheon. He's been there, since he graduated college in 03, 04. And I have another friend. I have 2 friends that are engineers at Raytheon, at different sections of Raytheon. They're black. I know black engineers that work over at Aerospace. So if you're in engineering, I think you should be good. Like everybody I know that's an engineer in LA is doing well. Everybody I know in LA, I know at least 4 engineers, and they're all doing well for themselves, and none of them complain about job insecurity, put it like that. So if you want to move to LA and be an engineer, I would say come on and do it. We need more black people here anyway. Let's see. You're right, Quan. Some of the most evil people I've encountered were in church too. That's a lesson I had to learn. I mean, church people be mean. Like, why are you so mean? And why your face so ugly? With your mean ass. Bunch of mean motherfuckers in church. I think I'm gonna take some calls now. Y'all see the phone number down there. Y'all see the phone number. Call in, niggas. What y'all want to talk about? 323-744-7425. Trying to figure out how to take this goddamn Skype screen off. This shit tripping. Hey, do I even have Skype open? Let me see. You say you learned a lot at the First Baptist Church of Jacksonville? See, look, you can learn a lot in church, man. I'm not against church. My only thing is church got to start coming correct. That's my only thing. Church got to start coming correct. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, the name is JP, man. I'm calling out of North Carolina. I'm originally from New York, man. I wanted to ask, man, what you think about the whole P. Diddy versus Jermaine Dupri thing. Well, the potential versus. What you think about that?
What's that? Who is it again?
JP. JP calling out of North Carolina.
Oh, I got to know the question. And one more time, you said who against Jermaine Dupri?
Yeah. The question was, what you think about the potential versus between Diddy and Jermaine Dupri, and what T.I. had to say about New York and Atlanta.
I didn't hear everything T.I. had to say, but I'll tell you this. I saw Diddy sort of blow off Jermaine Dupri, and that was some whole shit because Jermaine Dupri is a real music producer. You know what I mean? He really gets in and does the music. Diddy's a motherfucker say, hey, you remix that other beat over there, and I'm going to take credit for it. So Diddy needs to calm down. All right? Like, calm down. Jermaine Dupri is a great music producer in and of itself, and he has a nice catalog of music from Da Brat on through to a lot of different groups. You know what I mean? So, matter of fact, I'd take Jermaine Dupri over Diddy any day in the verses.
Oh, you'll take him over Diddy?
All day.
Okay. What about him over Dre? That's the last question.
Over Drake?
Yeah, Dre. Dr. Dre.
Oh, hell no. I'll take the Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre all day? All right, man. That's all I had to ask, man.
Man, good question, brother, man. You have a good day.
Man.
Yes, sir.
All right, one love, man.
One love, man. There we go. Yeah, I thought Diddy was on, like, Diddy need to calm down. Like, Diddy, I've never liked Diddy's music because that shit came out when I was in high school, and I knew all them songs already because I was already into 70s music when I was in high school. So when I hear literally would take a beat, not even change the shit, and then rap over top of it. Nah, I'm good. I've always been someone who, but it comes down to what you want. Some people just want to bob their head. So why not take a song that's already worked? This song made them bob their head 20 years ago. I'm going to redo it again. But I'm the kind of person that appreciates originality. I like original shit. Yeah, Jermaine Dupri sampled the Ozzy Brothers Between Sheets Unfunctified, but he made the song into his own. Yeah, Dre sampled a lot of Part of it Funkadelic. But Dre knew how to whoop-de-wimp and rap it and warp it to be its own song. I can appreciate that. But when you just take a goddamn song, don't even change the key, nah. Somebody update American Negro to how I began this broadcast. Must have come in about 5 minutes after I started, or 20 minutes after I started, because I already covered how South Central politics work, and you don't know what's available down there. Honestly, don't speak on things. I only speak on things in my chat room or around me that you can verify, because I'm gonna do the same for y'all. I'm not gonna just tell y'all stuff just to be because I feel a certain way about somebody. I'm not gonna come to y'all and talk to you about anything based on how I feel or I'm assuming. If I bring you something, it's because I know. So I'd appreciate that respect in return. Don't just talk about because you don't like somebody, you're just gonna say things. I don't respect that. Much love to you. Much love to everybody in here, but I don't like gossip. That's not my thing. I appreciate the Cash App, American Negro. Hell yeah, did he finesse the game, FYF Life? Did he finesse the game like a motherfucker? I mean, everything from Mary J. Blige, literally everything he did was a sample. And they weren't creative samples. It was just let's chop this bars up, then boom. And then on top of that, Diddy, look, we're gonna have to have a real discussion, because I've been hearing this one-way conversation from New York for a long time, angry at LA for bringing in gangster rap. First of all, niggas, that was message music, reflecting the stories that was going on the streets. A lot of y'all saw these palm trees out here and didn't know it was like that. The industry turned that shit into quote-unquote gangster rap. It was a reflection of the times. But one thing people don't talk about is from the mid-90s on, after the death of Biggie, New York rap became about materialism and bullshit. Bullshit and materialism. That Jay-Z shit from then, that Bad Boy shit, that flossing era, that I got more money than you era, that get like me era. Yeah, gangster rap did do a job on our community, leading people to the gang life. I'm not gonna front like that didn't happen. It did. I saw it happen with my own eyes, especially with Tupac. I saw straight up square niggas wanting to be thugs after Tupac went to death row. So I'm not absolving the West Coast of anything. But back when we owned the hood, or occupied the hood, renting it out, and credit was easy to get to in the 90s, before inflation hit, instead of us buying up the houses in our neighborhoods, which at the time, houses were still affordable in the late 90s. Late 90s, you could still get a house in South Central LA for 100 grand, 120 grand, 150 grand. Other parts of the country, way cheaper than that, 30 and 40 grand. But no, that's not what they said to do. They said spend it, burn it. You got it. I'll go so far as to say that was more damaging. Because everybody don't bang, but everybody gets money in some way. Whether by hook or by crook, if you living, you get money in some way. And that late 90s East Coast rap, and then when it went to the South, Jermaine Dupri, Money Ain't a Thing, that got us stuck on material bullshit. And then Jay-Z want to act all like 30's a new 40 or whatever the fuck, 20, and act like he done matured because he's buying better cars. Nigga, you just a better consumer. We got to talk about that era. A lot of black people burned through a lot of money keeping up with them videos. Yeah, folks were forced to sell to grandmama house, wanting to live that rap video lifestyle. No, keep the house and collect the rent. But no, you want that quick 120. So you can live the video life. This nigga said I had an apartment on Eucalyptus and sitting there for $525 a month. Well, Eucalyptus and 7, right by that 7-Eleven, yep, near the serving spoon and all that shit, and that funeral home. Well, now you want to rent over there, that shit gonna be a 1-bedroom, gonna be $1925. That's smart. American Negro, you got a house over there by the Rose Bowl. That's an old school black neighborhood that we losing out on too. People don't understand. When you see that beautiful Rose Bowl on game days, for the Rose Bowl game, those houses right next to that beautiful Rose Bowl, man, that's a black neighborhood. Well, it was. Niggas be thinking all of LA is some, oh no, it's some beautiful black. We've always had beautiful black pockets here in Southern California. And over there in Pasadena, by where American Negro's house is one of those beautiful, beautiful areas. We do need a rent too damn high party in California. Yes, what the fuck we do. Yeah, that's right, Star. In the Ferrari and Jaguar, switching 4 lanes, screaming out, holla back, money ain't a thing. I remember niggas bumping that shit. Nigga, you live in an apartment in Inglewood, but I ain't talking about the new good Inglewood. I'm talking about on Hyde Park or Venice Way, Inglewood, 1997. Over there, nigga, by the dunes. See, people watch that goddamn Insecure shit. I remember when Insecure came out, I told my wife, oh, this show Insecure is making the hood palatable to white people that don't live in LA, that are moving to LA, that may be scared to move to LA. That's all this shit is. Cause she said them same dunes. I remember them dunes would get shot up twice a week back in the 90s. Issa Rae moving over there. Ooh, gentrification's coming. It's here now. And that shit happened fast. Yeah, American Eagle Pasadena still got black neighborhoods. What I'm saying is every time I go up there is less. Less and less and less. Yeah. What else you niggas talking about in the chat room? Yeah, strip club music did fuck us up. Oh, you say you knew someone that stayed in the dunes? Yeah, I had friends. I Oh yeah, I didn't go. It was somebody my mom used to carpool with. Nigga, they had to come downstairs. We never went up in them dunes. Come on downstairs, Craig. That was the dude's name, the carpool. Come on downstairs. We're not about to go up in there. Oh, I saw the Matrix again last night. I saw that shit from a totally different point of view. I think I'm gonna do a full Matrix movie broadcast. I think I want to see it one more time. I like to replay some movies because when the Matrix came out, I was just graduated high school. When you in high school, you just see the shit for entertainment. I didn't understand watching movies with my third eye back then. So I haven't seen the Matrix in a long time. Man, I need to go ahead and do a breakdown on the Matrix. Let me know, hit the number 1 if y'all want to see me do a full breakdown on the Matrix. I mean, every line in that movie was a message. Every single line. Morpheus, Oracle, Neo. They just had such good cinematography. I remember when it came out, we all got caught up in the cinematography. But man, that message. Yeah, they stole that movie, The Matrix, from a black woman. I forgot her name. But she said when she wrote The Matrix, her boyfriend at the time was Muhammad Ali. And when she wrote it, she saw Muhammad Ali as Neo. That woman wrote The Matrix and The Terminator. And they stole her shit. Now them white boys that stole her shit are now white women. Go and look them up. The 2 white boys that stole The Matrix, them dudes is women now. They done changed. And I'm like, wow, did y'all do that shit to avoid paying this woman? Because I know y'all lost that lawsuit. Well, the man owed her. Now that y'all women, do y'all still owe her that money? Yeah, Sophia Stewart. That's her name, Sophia Stewart. And she gives great interviews too. Yeah. Stole her shit. Yeah, The Matrix and Terminator, one story. But yeah, the Wachowski brothers, that's their name. They now the something else sisters. But yeah, like when you watch The Matrix, I want y'all to watch it, and then we're gonna do a breakdown maybe sometime next week. When you watch The Matrix, watch it, and you see yourself as Neo. You see Morpheus as just that inner knowing, that higher self that you have. Some people call it the spirit, some people call it God, what the fuck you call it. That voice that you know that speaks softly. That's Morpheus. And the Oracle is the beacon that your higher self is guided by. If you see that movie as all 3 of them people as different components of you at different times in your development, you'll see another way of seeing things. And listen to those words. Like when Neo's talking about, okay, no spoilers. I ain't gonna get no spoilers. But view the movie from that perspective. When they're talking to Neo, they're talking about you. What can you do if you get rid of fear? And when you see them agents, all over the place, it's almost like this whole fight between the waxed and the unwaxed. The waxed are the people, the masses, plugged in. The unwaxed are the ones that the wax are always trying to fight and break down. But watch that shit, and I'm gonna do another break. I'm gonna do a breakdown on that movie pretty soon. Let's see what else y'all talking about. What up, FBA Strong? OJ was supposed to be the Terminator. Nigga, I loved OJ as Nordberg in Police Academy. I'm silly, man. The Police Academy series 1, 2.5, and 3 and the 33rd and the 3rd. Man, them 3 of my favorite movies of all time. I love it. He says you need help on the mortgage side of the game. I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to about mortgage because I haven't done mortgage since 2008. And I haven't updated myself on the laws and everything. So I don't like giving out advice when I'm not currently up on game. And the last thing I want to do is be that nigga that did some shit 20 years ago acting like I know it all. I don't want to mislead you in any way. Now, if it's certain questions, maybe I can answer certain things. I got rental properties and shit, but intricate shit, nuanced stuff, I don't want to give out the nuances because I'm not in the mortgage game anymore. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen as Joe Biden, that shit will be funny as hell. Now, I'm not sure I can point people in the right direction. Some stuff like mortgage, that shit, them laws change so goddamn fast. It wouldn't be safe to answer questions on that if you've been out the game for 3 years. I've been out for damn 13 now. I like to stay in my wheelhouse. You're right, son. They are trying to medically bug break Wiggins and Kyrie. They are trying to medical bug break them. Yep. We know Leslie Nielsen's dead. That's why we said we wish we can see him play Joe Biden. Let's see here. Well, I'm about to get up out of here. I just came to check in with y'all. Check in with me tomorrow. I'm gonna have my man Mr. Siddiqui Bakari on tomorrow. We're gonna break down the African roots that's in the culture that we all share in our music DNA, whether you're from America, the Caribbean, and such and such and such and such. Then I'm going to come with the information on how we as Black Americans shaped it and bent this thing in these last 150 years into our own thing that's separate from the rest of the diaspora. We gotta start giving credit to our culture. It's no diss on anybody else. Every group has a culture, and skin does not define culture. Culture is a set of norms and rules that a group has built over an extended amount of time together. That's what culture is. And the culture that we developed here, and black people in North America musically, has had changes and innovations that have put our sound ahead of anything else around the world. We got to give ourselves credit for that. This last 100 years, all these different sounds that we came out with, rock and roll, heavy metal, bluegrass, country, blues, jazz, ragtime, disco, techno, electronica, funk, hip hop, jazz. Come on, man. All forms of music that the world now copies. That's why I be so big on talking about our music. We gotta be proud of that, man. Because it's one thing to know history and know different things that we've done over time. But there are you can't, unless you live in Washington, D.C., there is no daily reminder that Benjamin Banneker designed that place. There's only daily reminders if you're, one, aware, two, you live in Philadelphia or D.C., the two cities he designed. You know, you're not going to use a gas mask. And so a lot of these different inventions that we've invented, you know, it's great to run across them when we run across them. But music, we run across music every day. Whether you're listening to the radio or you're listening to a TV commercial or you're watching a movie. When black children that are born and raised here know that their bloodline is responsible for all the sounds that they hear, it gives you a sense of cultural pride and cultural esteem, because you'll have literally daily reminders of your greatness. And that's the last thing they want, is for black people to be reminded daily of our greatness. We supposed to feel like we ain't shit as long as we live here. So when you bring all these other groups in trying to share our shit, no. You build your own and be proud of that. Don't go leeching off of our cultural pride and cultural esteem because you like what we made. Go sit down in the guest house. Get comfortable, but in the guest house. Yeah, we play music from the soul. Yeah, we the shit. And just like they remind us of our faults every day, we gotta use every cultural marker that we've established to be reminded of our greatness every day. Bring balance to that shit. And that's something that we can do without their help. Somebody here has the absolute worst fat jokes. God damn, nigga, you keep typing that same style joke that nobody's laughing at. Nigga. This somebody who grew up with a mama with 3 titties. Her middle titty had poison milk. And now that nigga grown on the computer with that 3rd titty poison milk brain he got, cracking the same joke that ain't nobody laughing at. God damn, you unfunny motherfuckers are weirdos to me. God damn. Thank you, whoever that was that muted that motherfucker. Jeez. This nigga over here drinking his mama's third titty poison milk until he was 9. Running his mouth in the chat room. That nigga come back, call him third titty. God damn. What was he talking about? Oh yeah, T-Pain. Here's the thing, when T-Pain could actually sing too. But that's what they wanted. Look, I blame a lot of the artists to an extent, but you always got to keep your eyes on the white supremacists, man. It's the record labels. The record labels, especially back then, they decide what gets put out and what's not. I remember back in the 90s, you could have a singer sing something, sound like a woman sounding like a goddess from heaven, doing all kind of vocal runs, produced live, a nice, great song. They done cut strings for it live. And then the record label will come back and be like, I want something more that people can sing along to. The 90s was a sing-along era. And no matter how great you sang, the record labels were not going to put it out unless you whispered or did some shit like that. Y'all remember the late 90s, early 2000s whisper era? Mariah Carey, as great as she could sing, had to whisper. Hell, JS. Y'all remember that group JS? I grew up in church with them. Like my church had an association of churches. There's like 7 of them. And they were in church with us when we was young. And then when one of the churches spun off and opened up a different branch, they went off to that church. But I would see them like, they would sing every youth camp we would have. I'll play the drums for them sometime when they would do certain church events. Them women could sing they motherfucking ass off. But when they released that song, Ice Cream, they had them girls whispering. I'm like, why is JS whispering? These girls got the heart. Look, when they sang together, they sounded like the Emotions. That's how they 3-part harmony was. And they had individual voices. But when they one shot came, they didn't sound nothing like them sisters. Them record labels tell you what's putting out, man. Oh yeah, no, it's not just one, Jaron. One of the sisters married Ronald Isley. The other sister married Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire. Like at the same time. And the other one, the third one, she went on the same background for Earth, Wind & Fire. But the one that married Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire, they got divorced after a couple years. The one that married Ron Isley, they still married. Yeah. Yep. But I'm about to get up out of here. Yeah, R. Kelly did produce it. I remember I used to hear a lot of, they was always around R. Kelly back in the 90s. And everything I heard about them, about Kells, they love Kells. I didn't kick it with them like that. I would just hear, I was cooler with their younger brother, and he would tell me shit. Robert. I'm not saying I kicked it with them like that. I would just see them like once a year at the church. By the time we got into the 90s, I would just see them like once a year or twice a year when the churches met up. Hell yeah, white folks who are intimidated by sisters with voices. They took the singing out of the music in the 90s. They devolved our music and made it possible for people who ain't got no talent like Rihanna to win and the Cardi B to compete. Because if our music was like it was in the 80s when you had to have power singing, remember the 80s, Vesta? Shit. Stephanie Mills. You can go down the line. Luther Vandross. You had to bring it. You couldn't whisper shit. You had to have talent. They used the 90s to really slow the vibration of our music down. So by the time the 2000s came, you really didn't need much talent to get a hit. But I'm about to get the fuck up out of here. I just want to check in with y'all. I'm going to have a show tomorrow. Again, tomorrow, 10 a.m. My man, Siddiqui Bakari. And rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Our queen. Well, remember this. There are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up game. Come back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our broadcast on music history. All right. Holla at y'all.